is basically start with the telescope. This is a Nexstar telescope, and it is a Celestron 8 model, which means it has an 8-inch lens. And basically, it has everything built into it in its basic form for you to just do basic observations of the sky and look at things that are, not super deep space objects, but things like the moon and planets. So where I started was I bought the telescope. It came with this lens, which is an eyepiece that screws into the back here with an angled star diagonal, they call that. And it was okay for looking at the moon. It was okay for like looking at stars that were far away, seeing maybe a binary star or two. But it really wasn't good enough for, just getting that true location of something that's really far away. And it was also not as good for calibrating because this is just, a small lens. It's a 25, I believe this one's a 32 millimeter. It comes with a 25 and a 32. So really both of them are just good for basic sky watching. So what I did then was I bought a camera mount to put on to the telescope to use either a cell phone or a small camera, like a, just like a point and shoot or something like that. And neither of those worked out. So I bought an electronic camera that's screwed onto the back of the telescope from Amazon. And that one actually was sort of like it really looked just kind of like that. And it just screwed in the back, had a USB cable that went over to the laptop. The software was real glitchy. I couldn't get anything to really work. And then every time I would get it just adjusted just right, it would basically the software would glitch and shut down, or something would just stop working, or you couldn't focus. So I kind of eliminated that. And from some of my research, I found, of course, what I posted recently about, which this is a Canon 7 Ti. Comes with this lens, which is really cool for just kind of going out and shooting basic photography in the field. Nothing you're going to do telephoto with or any of that. But that comes off. The camera itself is just a body, and it has a big hole in the front of it where you can see the lens and everything inside of it. So you have to get this adapter, and this adapter screws onto the back of the telescope where the star diagonal would have went. And this is the filter we use when we use the eyepiece. I have about 6 or 7 of these in the kit that I bought and did a video of previously. So I'm waiting on an order of filters that are big enough to fit in here, but you really don't need them. Filters only kind of enhance things or make things look more detailed as far as the moon and structures on the surface of the moon. Any kind of sharp edges, you're going to pick them up a little bit better with the filters. But right now, what we're going to try to do is just kind of look at something in the deep space and try to find a nebula, or try to find a constellation or something that has some color in it. And we're going to get the camera kind of set up for that type of photography, and then I'm going to take it to the camera store, and they're going to remove the infrared filtering from it, and then we'll be able to take infrared free or infrared pictures of nebulas and galaxies and things like that. And you'll see a whole lot more when it's got the infrared removed from the camera. But that's something that you typically either can order the camera. It's a lot more. It's a few $100s more. You take it to a camera shop. It's about $100, $125 to have done. And don't try to do it yourself. I've watched guys on YouTube do it, and don't try to do it unless you're like an electronics expert. So basically how this works, this is the viewfinder for everything you're going to find in the telescope that you can see. It has a little laser in the eye here. You turn this on. The laser is right in there, and as soon as you look through here and line the laser up onto the item you're looking at, like the moon or a planet or whatever, then you're able to zero that in, and then you're able to adjust the telescope using the control pad so that the telescope and this are kind of in cahoots. And that takes a little bit of time, but it's pretty easy to do. So what you're going to do is, when you're going to go set this up at night, you're going to need to do this. You're going to need to align this, and then you're going to need to hit align on the machine over here. It has an alignment setting, and then it aligns by computer. But what happens is, a lot of times that's way off, and a lot of times if it's really a deep space object, you just can't zoom in on it. So using this is kind of great for the moon. I'm out there looking at the sun, and when you're out there with the sun, of course, you have a sun filter that goes on the front of it. You don't ever look through this thing at the sun unless you want to melt your eyes out of your head. And then basically, you set this up, you hit a few controls on the keypad. It actually comes with its own keypad, so I have the other one that came with the telescope if I ever want to just replace it, or just maybe get rid of this thing, or upgrade. So that's kind of cool. And then it just does its thing. You sit back for about 3 minutes and you let it scan the sky. It moves around, and boom, to the point that you've set it to, or the point it's looking for. If you do the sky tour, it's going to stop, and then you go over, and in the keypad, it's going to tell you what you're looking at. And basically, from that keypad, you're going to go into looking at it through the camera or the eyepiece if you're using an eyepiece, and you're going to do a couple little adjustments. And after you do the calibration, it guides you through it on the keypad. Super easy. Once you do the calibration, it's like another step, and this thing will go to anything in the sky. And when you look into the eyepiece or look into the camera, it's going to be right in the center. It's amazing. I can't believe it. It finds stuff that's like, I don't know how many light years, 20 light years, 100, 200 light years away, just boom, it's in the direct center of the lens. So this was a great investment. This was about 320 bucks. The base telescope was about 850. You know, when you buy this telescope, it doesn't have anything on it except for this and the original eyepiece. So I bought all these other things to do things with, you know, to make sure I'm not missing any parts. I bought the filter kit from Celestron. And then it came down to the camera, which this camera I got on Amazon for $7.99. So I thought that was a pretty good deal, considering it was $1,000 at most of the camera shops around here. So I ordered that. It's pretty simple to use. It's just like any basic SLR, but it's just a DSLR. So this is what we'll be using to photograph deep space. And I'm going to photograph the moon and zoom in on the planets and see how we do. And the one other thing that makes this easy to set up that I kind of added, it's not really necessary, but it goes in line with all the cabling and the wiring, is this GPS unit. What's cool about this is if you use it at home a lot, you kind of know where everything's in the sky. But when you drive out in the middle of nowhere and you're going out in the dark, and you want this thing to know right where it is so that the star search can start working better, because the star search will use that instead of your input to kind of start out and know where it is for for its base setting. So you enter the city and all that on this. With the GPS, you don't have to do that. This thing right here reads that GPS, boom, it's all done. The GPS was about 75 bucks. So I think that was pretty good, because sometimes that can take like 5 to 10 minutes and it can be pretty aggravating. So basically what I do is when we're doing the eyepiece, we have a big zoom eyepiece. This was a Meade, or this one's a Celestron. I also got a Meade. I was just kind of trying to see what the difference in the quality of the two were. Definitely the Meade is nice, but the Celestron is a much beefier unit. So if you're going to get a zoom with an adjustable zoom that spins like a camera, I would definitely go with the Celestron. It's like maybe 10 bucks more. Got a Barlow lens. Barlow lenses actually double your field of view. It basically is like a magnifier, 2x magnifier. You can get them up to 3, 4, 5x. I've got 2 different ones here, and then I've also got an adapter to adapt the camera to the eyepiece instead of to the back of the telescope. For whatever reason, I might want to do that. So that's basically how this thing is. It's on a tripod that's real sturdy. This whole part right here turns. So what you do is you just pop this controller off, and you're going to reach under here, switch that thing on, and then you can see that this thing is just lit up in red. You really can't see it on the video, but that's what's nice at night. And so this thing sets up and it's synchronizing, and then it just kind of turns a little bit. And as you can see, it's real simple to move using the controls. Go up and down, go right to left. So when you go to do your alignment and your calibration, you're going to do it all through here. This thing's going to move on its own, and you're not going to have to worry about where you have it set up, but you're going to use this and the GPS together. I use, this thing's pretty sturdy. It's got a nice, real good strain relief there. So I just gently hang it from that cord. The purists might get pissed, but oh well. And so basically what you're going to do with this thing is when you want to take it outside, you unscrew this little tray here. It folds right up like a regular tripod. You just kind of heft it from right here and from right underneath. Kind of watch this thing up here, because this will always hit the roof when you're walking around. And so also what you'll use is if you're outside and it's kind of dewy or humid, and you don't want all that stuff falling on the lens, just for the period of time that you're going to be recording or just looking through it or whatever. And also during the day, if you're getting a lot of light from the side, you just kind of take this little guy and you slide it over the end, and it blocks the light, and you can slide it down and it locks into this little hoop right there, into that notch. So that's a real cool setup. These are cheap. This was like 22 bucks on Amazon. I got almost everything on Amazon. And so basically that's what it is. You got your sun filter. I got a set of 7 or 8 of these. I think there's 8. A few more eyepieces. I've got eyepieces if you want to locate stuff it's really tiny. I've got eyepieces that zoom down to 6 millimeters. It's just a little speck. And when you zoom in on something that's really far away, that little speck is going to be filled with whatever you're looking at. So if you're using a bigger lens, you're really not going to see it because you're not going to be able to get down to that scale, a bigger eyepiece. So that's basically the overview of this little guy. And next time you see it, it's going to be outside. We're going to be pointed at the sky. Tonight it's a little overcast and hazy, but tomorrow it's supposed to be clear and around 55 to 60 degrees, low humidity. So I'm going to set it up. We're going to do a few deep space shots, like maybe some 3 to 4 minute exposures, probably do about 10 of those. And the memory card will be full at 32 gigabytes. So should be able to fill that up easily in one night. And I'm going to make a video of that. And we're going to get outside and Gypsy's going to join us and we're going to go see what we can find. Right, girl? Come here. Come here, Gypsy. So we're going to go out there and we're going to find what we find. Gypsy going to join us. Gypsy going to join us outside, right, baby? Yeah. She loves going out and using that telescope, don't you? She says, I'd rather rip open the box that it came in, though. So, hey, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for enjoying spending my money with me and, putting some effort into this. And it's taken a little while to get to this video, even though I posted about a week and a half ago that I was going to do this. But I had to go out and work and make some money to pay for some of this crap because I never anticipated having to buy extra lenses and all that. But, as you do your research, you'll find that there's a certain level you want to be at. And, I don't want to spin my wheels and just try to find things and not have the equipment to actually see it or to take good pictures of it. So, it's a little investment now. It's just like a car. If you want a hot rod or something, you're going to have to pay a little extra money to have a fast car, or you're going to have to put a little bigger motor in your boat. But basically, I think it's a pretty good rig right now. And from everything I'm seeing on the forums, anyone who uses this, I think they find them to be the most versatile telescope. It's not, locked into just looking at deep space objects. It's not just good for planets. It's kind of good for everything. So I don't think we'll have to upgrade much except for maybe a little lens or a little whatever here, a little work on the camera, and that'll be done. So it should be pretty cool. So, hey, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll be coming with a new video soon here. Hopefully we'll have some pictures for you. Take care.